We are back with the Mind of an Entrepreneur podcast. Now, I am very honored to have Pat and Allison Francis here. So, guys, you are a power couple. Introduce yourselves. What areas you service? What do you do? Allison, why don't you, ladies first?
Okay. Hi, On God. Thanks for having us. I'm Allison Francis, my husband, Pat Francis. We live here in Monmouth County, and we do a couple of different things in the real estate space. So we are real estate investors.
Awesome.
Small multifamily, long-term buy and hold. We've also done short-term rentals as well, private lending, and recently fix and flips. And we're also looking to get into the commercial space with investing. I'm also a realtor here in Monmouth County, but I service the entire state, of course, licensed throughout the state. And we own Away Team Property Watch and Concierge, which is a private home management company that manages second homes here at the Jersey Shore.
And also, you guys are the runners of the RPM Network, which is what, we're going to be at next Wednesday.
Yes.
So, great networking meetup at Skinny Flowers Brewing right here in Oceanport.
Yep.
And Pat, why don't you talk about your background as well?
Yeah, we were 20 plus years in our W-2 careers. I've been a union electrician for 23 years. My wife's been in education for 25-ish.
Around, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of, we've had great careers, great success in that part of our life, but we kind of just got to a point in our life we knew there was like more for us.
Absolutely.
And we were just talking one day, and we're talking about our life and our future and how we want to live and travel. And then when we kind of took a step back and looked at the numbers that these jobs and W-2, what that provided for us, we were like, I don't know if we're going to be able to really like live the full life we want to live going down this path.
Or it's going to take you a lot longer than you want to.
It's going to take us a lot longer. Yeah, and there's no guarantees at the end of that.
Yeah.
And
tomorrow is never promised to anybody.
Yeah. So I think that was like, a hard pill to swallow after you're that far along in your career, right? Because I really had no other plans of swapping careers like mid journey. So that was big. That was a big kind of thing to step back from. It was a big scary thing to step back from. Just dropping your paycheck and going out and trying to make it on your own,
Yeah, that's definitely the leap of faith that you have to take, but you have a great partner next to you.
Yeah.
So take me through how is it like working with your wife as a power couple here?
It's great. There is definitely some learning curves along the way. You leave this structured life, and that was a really good thing about the W-2 life.
Yeah.
I knew I ate breakfast at 9 o'clock every morning. I had lunch at 11:30. I was at the gym at 3:30. Like, it was just very structured and like very simple. It was an easy way to kind of like go about your day. Now you flip on the entrepreneur hat and you're like, what do I do today?
Yeah, you're your own boss.
I know we're into real estate, but it's like, what are my needle movers today? And how do I go about my day and, get the gym in and do all the things. So it was a lot of like trial and error kind of thing, and really just learning from other people and how they structure their days and their life. And, so every day is a learning curve,
And no 2 days are the same when you're an entrepreneur, right? With a W-2 job, which is great. It served you guys. That was your season of life. Now in this next season, now you have a lot more challenges that are going to be a little bit different than your W-2 job.
Yeah.
W-2 job, it's like, all right, every day's the same. I get paid my paycheck every 2 weeks or every week, benefits, everything's taken care of. But you also have those golden handcuffs.
Yes.
As an entrepreneur, especially myself, somebody who has ADHD, I'm like, there's so many things that are going on. You're going to need that structure in order to be the best boss of yourself. Self-mastery, I think, is paramount when it comes to running your own business. But also self-mastery now and as a couple is another challenge too, because now you have two people that have to be on the same page, not only in your marriage, but also in your work as well. So that's a lot of people can't do that. And I think that one of the things I admire about you guys is that no matter what season in life you guys are at, you're always in shape, you're always reading. So I want to kind of get into, how do you guys keep health and fitness as a pillar as your relationship, as you navigate the new lives of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think this goes back to Allison being a very structured, organized in her previous, role as an educator, supervisor. Like, things needed to be on time, organized, everything in a folder, right? So just very like structured and time blocked. So I learned a lot of that kind of from her. I mean, I never used the Google Calendar before, right? So
Yeah,
now it's like
it's
the
important
gym's
to
on the
have.
Google Calendar, and it's like that's the time you're going to the gym, because chances are if you miss that window in the morning, I'm probably not going to be going at 7:00 tonight, and I'm going to miss it, and you know, like
it's
you know,
a snowball.
and life gets in the way, and then you don't go tomorrow. But like if it's on the calendar and it's like time blocked out,
Now just get it done.
you have a lot better chance of it happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, health and fitness is like just a huge part of our lives, right?
Yeah.
So it's to both of us, I think it's like kind of like a non-negotiable.
Yep.
So as Pat was mentioning, like the calendar blocking, and then we'll color code things on the calendar also. So anything in like yellow, like is gold to us.
Yeah.
Like, and that's going to be like our gym time, like, you know, whatever that might be that, following day or whatever, you know, throughout the week, kind of blocking those things out and making sure that we, you know, make it there. No matter what's going on in our day. If that means getting up earlier and just making time for it, it's important to us. And it's one of those things, like if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse, right?
Absolutely,
So it's,
yeah. No,
avoiding
and it
those
also-
excuses and
It also
getting it done.
improves the mood too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot. I can only speak for myself, being a single guy. But at the end of the day, you know, if I'm around a bunch of people and I haven't worked out at least in a day or two, I'm a lot different person.
Yeah.
I have a lot more anxiety, worry. I'm constantly on edge. But if you tame the beast inside, kind of get those endorphins flowing, it really, you know, puts everything in perspective. And especially when I was, you know, half marathon training, you know, if I'm running about 7 or 8 miles before I even start my day, then I get challenges from clients. I'm like, this is no big deal. You see what I just put myself through?
Right.
You know, this now you're just expanding your horizons. So keeping that as a pillar of your relationship, whether it's working or the romantic relationship, I feel like is paramount. You got to have a healthy habit like that you do together to keep things from bleeding in from personal to work. You're like, is this work us or is this personal us? Like we can't have those two things, because I've seen a lot of couples unfortunately not be able to work with their significant other because they don't have those pillars set.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just having somebody to like push you too.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow morning, it's like we have a call at 7:00 in the morning. So it's like, oh, I can't go to the gym in the morning. She'll be like, well, we could go at 6:00 in the morning and get it in, and we have to go wake up at 5. And I'm like, well, do we have to? And I'm like, if she's doing it, I'm like, I'm going.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not
can't
gonna
say happy wife, happy life,
Yeah.
right?
So it's like having that push. Maybe I might not have went tomorrow morning and maybe missed the day, but now she's kind of holding me accountable to make sure I go and vice versa.
Well, that's a sign of a very healthy relationship,
Yeah.
honestly. And something that I also admired of you guys, like I mentioned before, was your interest in books and reading and becoming more wise through that. So is there a certain book, Allison, that you love and you would recommend to any woman or just in general, any entrepreneur out there?
Yeah, so when I worked my W-2 and was doing a lot of driving back and forth to and from work, I would do a lot of audiobooks. So Jen Sincero writes the You're a Badass book. So it's like, you are a badass at making money, you are a badass at habits. So I've done a lot of repeat audiobooks of her. You know, they're really good, like mindset, and she's funny, and it's just super engaging. Like as you're, kind of makes the drive a little bit easier.
Yep.
In recent days, I've read The One Thing, Gary Keller.
Gary Keller,
of
absolutely.
course. That's always been I read that more than once. I think it's
that's
something.
a great audiobook too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those books, and so I feel like we both feel this way about a lot of books. Like it has to hit at the right time.
Yeah.
Right. You could read it
timing
once,
is
and you're like,
everything.
"This is a great book," but I don't know if it really, applies to where I am right now in life. And then you read it again, 6 months later.
Or like, oh my God,
Right,
more nuggets.
like a light
I didn't-
bulb
how did I
goes
know?
off. Yeah.
I had that with the Power of Habit and Atomic Habits. I read The Power of Habit when back in college.
Yeah.
And then I read it again about 5 years later.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I used to be so much more efficient. What did I do? And post-COVID too, I got into a little bit of I stopped taking care of my mental health because the world was changing. But then I would realize, what was I doing before COVID that I'm not doing now? And reading that book, realized, oh wow, like I can actually manipulate my patterns and be more proficient, get
Absolutely.
healthier, do these things, have those anchor habits. So I'm like, that's a great mindset right there. And Pat, do you have any books that you recommend?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all the mindset books. Like
Okay.
I love the stuff that gets me thinking differently or opens up a new perspective on certain things. When I first got into reading, it was about finance and stuff. And you find out just what you don't know, and that kind of became the addiction for me. I'm like, man, I read this book and I was like, I thought I knew about money and how things work, but I was missing a ton. And then it was kind of what else didn't I know? You know, and so that kind of became the
wonder.
Yeah, the attraction of what's the next one to read, and but also too, I think it comes down to it's you could have this big pile of books, you could read every page on it, but it's like, what did you really retain out of it?
Yeah.
So I kind of got into this thing. I set a goal. I'm like, I want to read 24 books this year. And it became more like just blowing through books rather than like studying it and like absorbing everything you're actually reading. So I would say rather than like reading a book, putting it down, go buy another one, like pick it up again, reread it again, highlight it while you're reading it, and like absorb everything in it. Because there's like, you know, you talk to so many people. I could just read a chapter and be like, I have no idea what I just read.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you're really, you read a book, you could check it off your list, but like, did you get everything out of it? Did you absorb all the knowledge out of this book? So that's what I've kind of been switching to lately. Just going back to the bookshelf, picking another one off the shelf, opening it up, just becoming a reader. I don't have to now like read a certain amount of books every year. Like I just make sure I'm like reading something every day for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's a different kind of way to.
It's a good anchor habit, as we were talking about, is to have that, you know, kind of this program. For me, every morning it's the Bible and then read 10 minutes. That's for me, you know, and then that sets me for the day, and it gives me a little bit more wisdom. Some from the Bible, some from the book that I'm reading, right? And part of the reason why I started that habit is because of you guys, because I got inspired from your meetup that you guys created in Oceanport, and I saw that you guys were really big on giving away books. And today's society doesn't realize how much of a gift that is. I was gifted Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty by one of my best friends, because he saw that I was, I went to a convention at Keller Williams actually in Atlanta, and he was a keynote speaker. Really loved how his mindset worked. Can relate to him a good amount. Another Indian guy, right? You know, at the same time, getting that book from one of my best friends showed me so much that he cares about me and he wants to help me get to a point of being able to relation, become a better speaker like Jay is, right? And I learned so much from that book, but it also showed me how we don't really value reading as much as we should in our society. There's so many good nuggets there. I'm able to relate to more people because we're not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah.
Right.
We're just taking the wisdom that he was passed down, he's passing it down to us. The answers are right there. We just have to be willing to search for them. And before we go today, I really wanted to get into that leap of faith that you guys had. You had 25 years as a teacher.
Yeah, close to it. Yep.
Yeah, and 23 years as a union electrician.
Yeah.
So when you guys were discussing taking this leap, what were some of the thoughts that came to your mind? Some of the things, people you referred to, maybe some of the literature that you may have read up on, anything that you would also encourage other people to read before they take this leap?
I'd say just get a tattoo of faith over fear on your body and commit to it and just really believe in it. No,
you're literally wearing it. You're wearing it every day.
Yeah, it's like
reminder.
I have to live it now that I have it. It's permanently on my body. So
well, that's a great way to be constantly reminded.
Having that mindset shift into really truly believing that like what you're building and what you're going after and your dreams, even though like you might wake up every day and be like, that seems like so far away, but it's just having the faith and like still believing that everything is going to turn out the way you envision it, even though you don't have the proof kind of right in front of you.
You have to have the faith, right?
You have to have the faith.
When I took my leap was just a little bit earlier than I was expecting. I took the leap into real estate at 23 when I had a W-2 job, company car, had my own house at 22, 23 years old. I'm thinking that I figured out the whole world. I'm like, I'm ahead of the game. Yeah. And I was always told, like, that's your goal. You want to be ahead of everybody. Like, everyone else is here. You have to be here. You're this. I built up my entire childhood. I was supposed to be this, prodigy. And that's how my parents raised me, really. Once I got into the real world, I realized, what? I'm not everyone else's special boy. The world doesn't care how much potential people said I had. I have to learn this. And then when I realized is that I was 60 pounds overweight. Yeah, I had my own house, but the job I did not love. I was constantly searching for fulfillment elsewhere, and I was miserable. So what that made me do is say, I saw my dad flipping houses, and we had a conversation. He's like, I need you to sell everything that you just made and come back and live in our basement and be our realtor. And I had to make that decision.
Yeah.
And thank God I made that decision. But for people, that sometimes that decision happened at 22 or 23.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens in your 40s. Sometimes it happens in your 50s. But the important factor here is that we listen and we make a calculated risk.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt like, if it didn't work out, I had enough time left to but we all have time left.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of the perspective that I needed to learn. And I see people taking, that's why I'm always going to be somebody who was going to applaud you for taking the leap.
Yeah.
Because you never know where this is going to come out.
No, you don't. And I feel like everybody thinks it's like, it's probably easier when you're 23 to take a leap because like you really don't have anything to lose. You have
you don't.
You have no money. You have nothing. Like
Right.
your fallback is pretty much.
I still have my Rutgers degree. So I was like, you know what? If I wanted to become a financial analyst somewhere at a corporate company, I could have.
Yeah.
But I mean, I knew from a young age, especially learning from my dad, that I wasn't going to be happy being somebody else's employee.
Right.
I thank God. I mean, I hope nobody reports me, but like, I don't really think our brokerage has a HR department because if it did, I'd probably be fired because I just say what I feel, But not that it's anything negative. It's just that you need to freely express. I'm a person that needs to freely express himself.
Yeah.
And that's through work, through my life. And at the end of the day, if I'm not getting that, I'm not going to be happy for too long. I need something constantly stimulated. Maybe that's my ADHD, but I think it's just a factor of somebody who wants to constantly improve himself.
Yeah.
Right. I want to learn about other people. I want to learn about you guys. I want to see what makes you tick, which is the whole reason why we're sitting here today. So any parting advice, any final things, where can people find you? Let us know.
Yeah. So in terms of Away Team, which is our property management company, we're awayteammammoth.com is our website. And I believe Away Team Monmouth is also our Instagram handle. And then Allie on the Move NJ on Instagram. Pat is
Pat Francis.
not huge into the he's P Francis
She's
1 2 3 4.
the social media.
Well,
I do more of the
this will be on her
socials.
page and your page, and they'll find you.
I'll just repost her page because my
Okay.
page is just full of reposting on her page.
Right.
I'm going
Listen,
to work on that.
you know what? You know your role.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
thanks for
thank you for
having
having
us.
us.
Yeah,
and
thank you
we're
so
going to
much,
see
man.
you. Hopefully, this comes out beforehand, but you're at Skinny Fowers Brewing, usually the fourth Thursday of every month.
Yes, so it's usually-
But this month, in July, it's going to be the
22nd,
22nd.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to more connections there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Great, man.
Relationships, purpose, momentum is
That's what it
the
stands for.
RPM
Yes,
network.
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Good job.
So,
Good job.
yeah, we started that earlier this year just because networking has pretty much gotten us to where we are in this moment right now. That's why we know you, right?
Yep,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
so
And
it's
you're going to
super
be
important.
meeting Steve and his wife, who are also going to be interviewed, and they started their meetup in Asbury Park.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
Oh, did they?
so
Nice.
yeah, so right when you walk out these doors,
Perfect.
Yeah, that's my next
Yeah.
my next
Another-
interview.
It's funny
Another
how it
new
all comes
connection.
full
Yeah.
We love
circle,
it, yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
starting going to your meetups, met Bart,
Yep.
joined the group,
Yeah.
like become friends. It's just like it's crazy how it all just, and it's all just like the power of networking.
Yeah, and
It
it's I
is.
think also on top of it's similar goals. Too.
Yeah, everybody's
Similar
like-minded.
As the old proverb says, iron sharpens iron, right? And we have a bunch of high-level people here, and I'm just grateful and blessed to be in your presence.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you
Mark.
very
Yours
much.
as
Thanks
well.
for having us. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Anka.
you.
We appreciate
Have a great
you.
rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you.